Select your watercraft, please.
Are we live? Let me see. Is it gonna be live? Are we live? Oh, I need to update the tab we are in. I want to see the bit rate and make sure we're not stuttering or nothing. Okay, we are live. Okay, everyone, so this is my second attempt at recording. I actually got about 15 minutes into making this video, but then I realized I didn't hit the start stream button. So this is going to be my second attempt to make this video. I didn't get too far into it, so that's lucky of me to catch it, because I was actually going to change the screen and view of like the scene I'm in, because I realized I'm in a speedrunning scene, and not this scene I actually wanted to see. Scene actually, okay, I'll just leave it on this scene, the gameplay only scene with no webcam. I think it'll be the easiest, as I don't want any distractions of you seeing. I don't need you to see me because it's kind of redundant. I mean, but anyway, yeah, this is my second attempt at making this video. So everything should be streamlined better because now I already know what I said, so I don't have to make all those stutters and moments of what was actually technically not recorded, even though I was saying it. But yeah, that's just a little tangent. So I'm just going to start my script from the beginning. I don't actually have a script to read off of, but I kind of had a general. Okay, I'll just stop. Okay, so this is the tutorial series I'm starting for all the individual tracks for Expert Championship mode. We're doing a tutorial series of everything in the game. So this will be for Drake Lake Expert Championship. I'll teach you how to get a 1:15 or like a good time on Expert Championship mode for Drake Lake. So this is what setup you'd want to use. This is going to be the beginner version of Drake Lake Expert Championship. Those who are going to be new to doing Expert Championship speedruns. This is like the recommended settings that you would want to use for Drake Lake Expert Championship as a beginner. So I explained before I realized I wasn't streaming. Oh.
Welcome to Sunny Beach.
Okay, I made a mistake. I thought it was in time trials. Okay. I'm gonna have to.
3, 2, 1.
It's actually my fault. Maybe it's not as streamlined as before. Before I was doing a good job, and now I'm like all flustered because I had to restart.
Select your watercraft, please. Select your course, please.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so I'm just gonna begin my talk again before we actually start. So we are on Drake Lake Expert Championship mode. I set the game settings up so that we get 9 laps before we have to do another session on this course, because I might have to do a few. The timer on the left that you see going up on the left side of the screen, that's about the 30, only goes up to 10 minutes. I don't know if that won't be enough time to go over what I want to go over. So this is Drake Lake Expert Championship Beginner's Guide. So those who are using the basic camera view that we are in, that the game gives you, you're not changing cameras like the base camera. So if you don't change any settings, this is what you're in. this video will be for you. Those who use the overhead camera right here, this video will not be for you. There will be an intermediate version of this tutorial for Drake Lake for you coming up. And the expert version will also be for you, but this is the beginner version for those just starting out on so I guess we will start. I also highly recommend, I'll put the playlist in the description to watch GHILLIEGUIDE's and MDK's Drake Lake tutorial. It's in a playlist called Wave Race Tutorials made by GHILLIEGUIDE about 6 or 7 years ago. Now for those who don't know, GHILLIEGUIDE is a Wave Race 64 speedrunner as well. He hasn't played in a while. He mostly plays Sight Bike 64. He's looking to become Grand Champion of that game. But he is an awesome speedrunner in this game. He's very highly talented at this game. And I recommend you watch his tutorial series. I'll link it down below. He has videos on watercraft settings, recommendations, some of the in-game techniques such as tapping B. I will definitely be going over that in this video. So if you're watching this on Twitch, which is me live right now, because I'm live right now on my Twitch, there might be some dead gaps where you don't see me talking. I'm just moving section to section. Don't be worried, because once I port it over to YouTube, which is a more better, is that grammatically correct? But yeah, there will be segmented sections in the video where you can just click on the section, so you don't have to keep watching me over and over again with an intro. You can just skip to the section that you're having trouble with, and all that info will be in that section of the course. This will be done lap by lap, and it will also include in this video for tips, tips outside of like the actual wave and like course aspect of the course, so like how to think mentally, how to maintain composure. Everything will be in here for the beginner guide at a beginner level. So now that we have everything out of the way, we can start. And luckily for me, it took me actually 6 minutes to explain this the first time. But obviously I had to think of stuff doing it the first time that I wanted to get out, but now I already know what I said, so we'll now start. So this will be labeled the intro section. So now we will start Drake Lake Expert Championship mode. Okay, so you just had Sunny Beach and Sunset Bay. You had killer times on those, and now you're on Drake Lake, the third course in Expert Championship mode. A course where it can definitely hurt your chances at a PB, but now that you've watched this video, you'll be doing a lot better. So Drake Lake Expert Championship, let's talk about Drake Lake as a whole before we actually start, because Drake Lake is a menace, does not care about your feelings, and it is a run killer. That's a run killer for me, a run killer for a lot of people involved. So as a beginner, we don't want you to feel the fear of Drake Lake. We want you to overcome Drake Lake and show the course your power, show that it has no control over you. And it begins now. So a few overviews about Drake Lake before we actually get to driving. Some things you need to know. Drake Lake is the only course in the entire game that has no waves. So in any variant of Drake Lake, so Drake Lake in normal championship, Drake Lake in hard, expert, reverse, there are no waves. So you might be saying, oh, how can a developer make a course that's all about waves, and a course has no waves. Well, this makes Drake Lake a unique course because, unlike other courses where you can use many techniques to overcome waves, this course is all technical skill. This means that the inputs you use, your mental composure, play a big assessment into how well you can do on this course. And Drake Lake can be very intimidating for those who don't understand it, because Drake Lake is a beast, sort of like a mountain. Try to climb up the mountain, but the mountain always has the final say. So no matter what skill level you are, Drake Lake can definitely hurt you. It can turn its ugly rear head and tell the player, nope, I shall not let you pass. So just keep in mind Drake Lake has no waves, and Drake Lake is a technical map only. Your success on this course highly relies on you understanding your inputs on your controller and understanding how to do each part of the course section by section. But we're going to do that here. So now I'm just going to let a 3-second pause so that it would help me in the video figure out what section we're on. So it's going to do a 3-second pause now. Okay, so now
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so now this is the section where we're going to start doing the first turn, how to do the first turn. So when you first start up the game, it has you in a certain position right underneath the A on the start screen. So I'm just going to simulate what it would be if you make no adjustments and you just press the gas button. So I'm in no power mode, trying to simulate it slowly. So if you hit no adjustments and you go straight, you hit the yellow buoy. So the way to make this first turn around this rock on the left, you can see on the left is like this rock that's in the water, or like whatever that is. So what you do is you go up, make a slight left adjustment, barely tap the left input. I'm using the N64 controller, but for those who are using Switch, who are using Wii Virtual Console, this will all be applicable, but I'm using the N64 controller. I will account for that difference as well. With the N64 controller, we have like dedicated notches you can put the analog stick in, and it's like getting a control pattern are different than using the analog, but everything will be streamlined. So you want to do whatever you use for an input, whether it be an analog or like a joystick, Joy-Con. So you want to make a slight adjustment, and then as far right as you can go all the way to the right on the adjustment, and then go all the way left on your adjustment, and that should get you by that yellow buoy right there that you need to go by. So now we're gonna show you what it looks like with power. It doesn't matter what power you get, so you make a slight left, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, and that gets you by this yellow buoy. So that's how you do the first turn as a beginner on Drake Lake Expert Championship. So let's just do it again so I can show you again.
2, 1.
So you hold the gas button, slight left, all the way to the right, all the way to the left, and that gets you by. Okay, so now we're going to move to the next section. So for those who are on Twitch, you guys get to see this, but for those on YouTube, I think this part might be cut out. Okay, so we're on the next section of Drake Lake Championship. For Expert, we are literally at the fork in the road right now. So for those who are beginners, I'm gonna break this down 2 ways. So we're gonna go the easy path for those who are very, very new, and we're gonna break the harder path for those who are feeling a little adventurous. So if you're a brand new beginner, you run an expert championship, and you're feeling scared, I'm gonna teach you the left path now. But if you're feeling adventurous, I'm going to teach you like the preferred way of going, which is going to the right. But if you're first starting out and you're doing this type of run for the first time, very first time, and you're not used to playing Wave Race, I'm going to teach you both paths, so everything will be here. So you just made the first turn, you're feeling awesome. So what you want to do is go on the left path, and there's these weeds. If you're a beginner, I won't be too harsh on you for going through the weeds. So you go through the weeds, you just maintain straight, and then once you get to the end, hard left. Very easy route. So now I'm going to simulate what it looks like, all the sections combined. So left, hard right, hard left. And then you just go straight through this, go through the weeds, hard left turn, and keep holding A the entire time. And that brings you to the next section. So now we're going to go over the right side of the island. So remember, left adjustment, hard right, go up a little bit, hard left. Okay. So to get to this, oh, I went too far. It's like really difficult to go section by section because usually if you're doing this in a run, you don't want to let go of the gas button. Just stop to a point. Okay, so once you get out of your turn, you should be about right here, or like a little bit left. So what you should be doing as soon as you get this left buoy is making the right adjustment. And if you're a beginner, don't be too worried about going in between the weeds and the island that you see to the left of me. There's a gap of water where you don't hit the weeds. If you're a real beginner at this game, don't worry, just make sure you're to the right of the island. Even if you hit the weeds and lose some time, it's okay. It's all about just not crashing or going over the island. Because if you skid over the island, you lose a bunch of time, and you just need to stay to the right. So you can go through the camisas, and then to line yourself up, you want to be to the left of this, as far left as you can, without hitting the island. Make your right adjustment. You can even come out a little bit, and then turn left. Okay, let me show you what that looks like in real time.
3, 2,
I'm going to break everything down, everything's together, so go straight, left adjustment, right adjustment, go straight a little bit, and then all the way to the right, and then stay to the right of this island, go straight, right, all the way to the left. Okay, so now we have completed a few sections of the course, and now we get to one of the more difficult sections of Great Lake Expert Championship. So, for a beginner guide, this is how we're gonna go through this section for those who are new. So now I'm just gonna get to that section now. So Twitch only, you get to see an extra setup. Okay, so you've just done those turns, and now you're reaching the tough section of this course. So Drake Lake, on expert, all the buoys are tighter. The harder championship you go, the buoys get tighter. So as a beginner, if you reach this section, It will seem intimidating because it's like a slalom of left and right buoys where you have to weave in and out. So, preferred way to get through this section is to be in the middle, entering the section as possible, because you want to enter this section to be in the middle of the screen and the course as possible. You don't want to be too far left, otherwise you're going to have to make a hard adjustment to reach the red buoy in front of me, and you don't want to be too far to the right of the screen entering this section because you'll miss the very first yellow buoy on my right there in front of me. So if you're in the middle, about right here in the middle, you're setting yourself up good. And one thing I will note for a wave race speedrunning in general is that it's always better to go slightly slower than it is to go faster and crash. Because if you crash and you fully go off the jet ski, that's a very big time loss of about 4 seconds. So it's always better to like take things slow and be more conservative if you feel uneasy about a section or a course in general. And that can be applied through this section as well. If you have to go slower or even go like really slow but you don't crash, it's mostly always better to do that than to rush things and fall down. So this course, this section can definitely trip you up. But let me teach you as a beginner how to get through this section. Okay, so you're in the middle of the course, like I told you to, and you're holding the gas button. So as a beginner, what I would advise is to actually press the stop button as you go through. So go up a little bit, press tap the stop button, go up a little bit, press the stop button, and then just slowly make the turns. So I'm just going to do that again.
3, 2, 1.
And this will be faster speed. Simulate like faster speed. Go up, hard right, hard left. Want to stay to the right. Start in the middle. Right, tap to stop. Right, tap to stop. Then turn left. I'm gonna do that again, even slower to break it down. I'm trying to simulate a beginner's speed level. Right, left, right, even if you go through the weeds. Left, right, left, tap the stop button. Tap the stop button and slowly make your turn. I'm even going to do it again for you, so we can do it again for practice. Right, left, right. Go through the camises. Left, right, left. Make sure you're kind of in the middle. Right, left, right. Even if you go slower, right, left. To see you can get through it and not crash, and you still have all your misses remaining, so you can still miss stuff. It is slower, but you did not crash. So that's how you do Great Lake pylons on beginner level insight. So now I'm going to simulate what it looks like at a faster speed. So you need an idea of someone who actually runs it. Because I did it right, left, do the camises, right, left, middle, tap to stop, left, tap to stop, right, tap to stop, left. Okay, so now Twitch only, you're going to see me set up the same section. that section. That. And when I say a tap, you just tap. You don't hold it down. Okay, so you just cleared that section, and now you're on the pylon section. This trips up a lot of people. It's a run killer. So this is how you do this section. So as soon as you exit the slalom section, you're now going to enter the entrance to the pole section you see out from the distance. Now keep in mind, for Drake Lake, I forgot to mention, every lap the mist disappears. So on the first lap you did the full mist effect you see on the right. You see my nose of Dave Mariner's pointed at. I'm kind of moving off because there's like a slight, I'm moving slightly, but there's like a fog effect on this course. So the way to set up this section is go in between these two buoys, and then, oh, I went too far. Let me get back to it. I'm sorry.
3, 2, 1.
I didn't realize I'll drift that far. So let me just get back. Right. Hold all the way to the left. Press the gas. Right. Left. Right. Left. So you can go through the middle. And then what I'm worried about is I'm in between two buoys. So there's the pole buoy right there, right next to the yellow buoy right there to the right. Then just turn around. Right in front of me. So there's the first pole right there. And there's that pole right there. There's the gap you want to shoot for. Those are the only two poles you should worry about when coming. Is this pole right here, first initial pole, and this pole. It's the first two poles. So let me turn back around. So the first pole is right behind the red buoy, and the yellow buoy is right in front of the pole. So the way to do this section is that you want to keep the right buoy on your left side, and you can go slow. All you have to do is go in between this gap right here. And then there's this next gap right here, which is right here, next to this right buoy. This is the next gap right here. You can see it's sort of like a gate where it kind of directs you to the next gap. And then once you're in here, you just hold straight. And then you just go through. So we're just gonna turn back around, and I'm gonna show you in slow motion, simulating the beginner's speed. I'm gonna go back further, what it should look like. You just finished the pole section, so you're holding the gas. You go right, go left, and you hit this gap right here. Okay, that probably wasn't the best showing, but let me go back further. Right? Hit this gate. Oh, even I messed. It's so hard to do things slower because I'm not used to Mariner moving this slow, because when you move slower, he makes this turn slower, so it might be a little bit of adjustment for me. Sorry. Right. Left. Hit this gate. And that's how you do that section. So I'm going to show you what it looks like in full speed. Oh, I had to go back further. I'm sure this section of the video will probably look like me look like an idiot going back and forth. Like, oh, does this guy not know what he's doing? Even I can't simulate the speed going that slow. Let me see if I can. Right. Left. Go through that gate. And go through that gate. Okay. Now we're on lap 2. Same rule applies for first turn. Slight left adjustment, right adjustment, and all the way left. And you just do everything over again. So go through the section. You can even go slower if you want. So again, you can go wide. Make this first gate hard right. And even if you go really slow, you can get through. So this is for people in normal view. Hard right, left. And you can go slow. You make wide turns. So you can even go really wide and set up this gate because you want to get through that gate and turn right. And do it again. Hard right, hard left. And this time, let's decide we want to go this way. Go through the camisas. Make sure we clear the turn. Hard left, all the way left. Slowly through this section. Even if you had to overturn, you go slow. So again, hard right, I let off the gas, made it through the first gate, made it through the second gate, and even if you miss a buoy and you don't crash, look, you get 2 powers right here. You didn't crash though. You might lose some time, but not crashing is a big thing I want to remind all beginners. Not crashing is actually a big part of speedrunning. So, hard right. This section slow, even if you have to overturn. You're gonna go wide. Take a left. Go through the gate. This is what it looked like at full speed, full speed. Hard right, make sure you're past, left, right, left, right, left. Now I'm gonna take a slow approach to this section. Left, right, and you made it through. Do it again. Go wide, right, left. You can even slow down for that turn like I did. Right, left, right, left. Pass the other buoy. Take a left, make it through that first gate of holes. Second gate of holes. See, if you add in some speed and you slow down, you're probably going to average about a 35 that time. They'd go wide, hard left, maintain the middle, and go slow, and tap the A button if you want to, even if you tap. Might be slower, but you didn't miss the buoy. So here is neat. If you tap the A button, like you do, and you're hearing the gesty going, wow, 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 wow. Don't be afraid to go slower. Right, left, the loop again. Even if you bobble in, you don't crash going at a slower speed. Right, left, right, left. Made it through. Go wide, make it through this first gate. Turn right. And made it through the second gate.
You almost had it.
And we had 30 seconds to spare. So I'm just gonna go back and give a general overview now.
2, 1, go!
So that is Drake Lake for beginners. I don't know how well this actually is. I'm trying my best to make a tutorial for beginners. This is like my first attempt at making an actual tutorial because I'm not used to teaching others. So hopefully I did a good enough job. So once again, just gonna go overview of everything that we have learned in this episode. So in this beginner tutorial of Drake Lake, what we've learned is that Drake Lake is a course that has no waves. Every input matters. So break it down. If you just want to see the ending or get like a streamlined version of what we learned today, this is what we learned. So when you first get on the course, press the gas button. Oh, I started drifting because if you don't move at all, it drifts you out. So when you first start, I'm going to simulate no power. Heck, I'm just going to simulate no power. Go forward, left adjustment, right adjustment, take this turn right, and go hard left, and you clear it. Now this is where it depends on how risky you are. If you want to go safe version, you go to the left, and if you want to go the harder version, you go to the right. And go up, going slow. Hard left, you want to be in the middle of this section, and you want to be tapping A, right, left, go wide, take a left, tapping A, and then going right through the gates. And that's the lap. And then do it again. Right, go wide, tapping A. And we're gonna let's go this way for once. Even if you go through the weeds, it's fine. Go left, tapping A, right, left. Going wide, even if you lose a lot of speed to set this up. First gate of pulls. Wow, you hit the buoy, but you didn't. I mean, you hit the pole, but you didn't crash. You went through the second set of pulls. Let's do it again. Even if you go far wide and you slow all the way down, okay, so now I'm going to show you what time you get using the beginner version. So hard left, hard right, hard left, and I'm going to use this side. Slow down for this section. Slow down for this section. You not realize you're through, so now you can just right, left. Now this time we might decide to go right. Slow down for this section. Right, left. Even if he goes slower, it's fine. Even if you miss a pole, it's fine. You don't crash. But again, this is guided for people who are very, very new at Expert Championship.
Okay. Maximum power.
Right, left, right, left. Left, right. And that will get you a 134. Now, depending on skill level, you might be up or down some, but that's just simulating the type of time to expect, about a 134, 135. So now let me just restart.
3, 2, 1.
So this has been Chameleon. This has been the beginner guide to Drake Lake for beginners, Expert Championship mode. Hopefully it'll be received well. Hopefully you learned something today. Again, I'm not used to teaching others. The intermediate and expert guides for this course will be more advanced. This is just the beginner version of Drake Lake on Expert Championship. So for those who are just playing casually, or those who are looking to speedrun, this is going to be like one of the very first videos you can go to if you're looking for Drake Lake help. So yeah, this has been Chameleon. And now there will be a pause. For those who are watching me on Twitch, I'm going to change to Drake Lake intermediate version, because I was actually thinking of making a separate stream for that, but I can always just make a highlight of something and split up the video that way, because I don't feel like making a separate stream. I just know that the first section will be 40 minutes. Okay. So now we need to go to Drake Lake
Select your
Intermediate,
course,
and we're
please.
going to do a whole separate intro and setup for everything there. So now we're going to be also recording the Drake Lake tutorial series for intermediate players. So now we're going to do a whole separate.
1.
Hello everyone, this is Chameleon, back at it again. So this is going to be the second video in the Drake Lake Expert tutorial series that I've been doing. I highly recommend you watch the very first video of this course labeled Drake Lake Tutorial Series Expert Championship for Beginners. A lot of good info on that video that I'll highly recommend you go over first. It's the routing for very beginner new players if you haven't watched it. But if you're not a beginner, this is going to be the intermediate overview of Drake Lake on Expert Championship. All the routing, all the setups, everything you need to know. How to run Drake Lake Expert Championship at an intermediate level. So we're going to kick things up a notch during this session. But again, I highly recommend that you watch the beginner version of this course if you feel the need to catch up on a few things, or if you feel like you're not ready to reach the intermediate stage yet. So we'll get right on into it, and everything that I've used in the previous video might still carry over. So if there are some overlaps in what you need to do, don't worry, this is the intermediate version. So I will again start the video, and this is once again I have to say it again just to make sure this is the intermediate version of Drake Lake Expert Championship intended for those who are reaching a mid-tier level time on Drake Lake Expert Championship for either casual play or for speedrunning. Once again, my name is Chameleon, Wave Race 64 speedrunner, currently ranked 15th to 18th on Wave Race 64. Got this rank for quarter 3 of 2022. So I know a decent amount about the game, and I'm just trying to help new players and existing players get better at the game, and that's my only goal. So once again, I have to explain real quick, because this is a separate video that I highly recommend anyone who wants to get into Wave Race 64 speedrunning or just getting better at in general, to watch GHILLIEGUIDE's playlist titled Wave Race 64. He has a tutorial series where he goes over a lot of the same aspects of what I'm teaching in more detail. So this would be each rider breakdown of each rider's skills. So this would include details of how each rider in the game rides. For instance, I'm using the character known as Dave Mariner. He's highly regarded as like the fastest racer in the game. So most people use him for all types of runs. And we do use the other characters, but for like full championship runs, we, as in we mean the speedrunning community, prefer David Mariner, so that's what I'll be using in this video for the intermediate version, and I use it for also the beginner version. So I highly recommend you watch GHILLIEGUIDE's playlist, especially on maximum power, how to get maximum power consistently, Wave Race recommendation and settings, and I'll definitely link that playlist in the description for those interested, because I highly recommend watching some of that material. We'll definitely be going over some of that material in this tutorial series for some of the like individual courses, so some of it overlaps. But I highly recommend this channel because he's an awesome Wave Race player who's currently retired at Wave Race, but all his information is still valid even if it is a little bit older. So one final time before we actually start, because for those who are just skipping around the video and just want to see gameplay and don't actually watch the intro, you will get lost if you start watching a video of something that's not your skill level. So once again, for the final time, this is the tutorial series for Drake Lake Expert Championship for intermediate or aspiring to be intermediate players. And now we will begin. And since we're getting close to the time limit, I'm going to restart.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so now you're looking to become an intermediate player. You feel like you got a good grasp of the beginner aspects of learning how to play. So use this video in conjunction with the beat tapping video for GHILLIEGUIDE's. That's in the playlist down below. I highly recommend that you watch the beat tapping video. That explains like beat tapping in the game and the mechanic of beat tapping in the game. For a quick overview, if you're lazy enough to not watch that video and you're just here just to watch me because you're too lazy, click the link, you lazy you. So in the game, there's a mechanic where you can bob your character up and down, and your character naturally bobs up and down just by racing normally. So let me just show you what I mean before I progress forward. So see, look at Mariner's head. I'm just going in a straight line. Actually, let me clear these dudes first, so I don't have to worry about that. So let me just turn around. gonna go back to the start. And don't worry, we have 10 minutes before I have to restart and the session's over. So if you go in a straight line, look at Mariner's head. It goes up and it goes down. But on in the overhead camera view, you'll see Mariner goes up and down. Oh crap, I forgot to mention, this video we're going to be using the overhead camera view. So if you watch the Lead Guides video on recommended camera settings, this intermediate guide, I'm going to teach you how to ride in the overhead camera view, because the overhead camera view has a massive advantage over the base camera view, because the overhead camera view, when you start riding, when we turn the jet ski, you can see the tip of the jet ski. Now this is very important, because when you're making turns in this game, the rider leans, and he starts going in the direction of where the tip of the jet ski goes. But the way a rider necessarily leans is not necessarily where the jet ski will go, because the rider is attached to the jet ski. So that means that ultimately where you end up going is where the tip of the jet ski, the front of the jet ski, is headed. So when you make turns in this game and you're using the overhead camera view, always keep in mind that just because your rider leans a certain way, that does not necessarily mean that he's going to turn that way initially, because the front of the jet ski has to make that adjustment to start turning to go that direction. But back to what I said before, there's a natural bob in the game where Mariner bobs up and down, and every other character for that matter, he bobs up and down. See, he's bobbing, his head's going up, then going down. This is what we refer to as a bob. And there's a cycle going on. It's called the bob cycle. But we'll get into bobbing into expert mode. But I just wanted to deliver some of the basics here first. I highly recommend you watch GHILLIEGUIDE's video on beat tapping, because that goes into very much more detail than I could ever go into. But there's a mechanic in the game called beat tapping. Now, the actual button on different versions might differ, but most Wave Race speedrunners, majority, play on Nintendo 64, either the Japanese version of Wave Race or like the American version of the game. And B tapping refers to the B button on the N64 controller. So when you B tap, I just explained how there's a natural bob in the game where if you just ride normally, any character goes up and down. You can see their head goes up and down. It's called the bob. And when you press B, you force a bob down. You force it down. So this is me tapping B, and keep an eye on the speed counter at the top. See, I'm just tapping B. See how it goes up when I tap B? It's a very big mechanic in the game, because you can use the B button or whatever button this is on your respective console, or console. I was gonna say Wii Virtual Console, but that's still a console. But sorry me. But yeah, this applies, I think, across all consoles. So if you tap B, you see he goes up in speed. Now this allows you to reach new speeds that normally you wouldn't be able to reach, Because by tapping B, you're forcing the jet ski back down to the ground. Because naturally, if you go over waves, you jump in the air. And by tapping B, it's sort of like an anvil drop, where you're adding weight to the jet ski, and it's forcing the jet ski to come back down. You see, like, it's forcing Mariner to like go slightly under the water. But Drake Lake has no waves, so it's kind of hard to see. But if you're on a wave in this game and you tap B, it's forcing the entire character and the jet ski closer down to the surface of the water. And the closer you are to the surface of the water, the faster you can go. Because in this game, waves can slow you down. Airtime in this game, in general, in this game, you don't want airtime. Because the more airtime you have, the less control you have over the jet ski, and the slower you go because you're in the air and not on the water. So by B-tapping, you actually force the jet ski back down to the ground faster so you don't be in the air as long. Now, one thing to say about B-tapping is it actually restricts movement when turning, which is why you shouldn't be B-tapping when turning. Don't B-tap when turning. Because when you B-tap when turning, it restricts your movement to actually turn the front of the jet ski. Because if you try and turn and B-tap, you'll still turn, but it'll be very, very slow. It'll restrict your movement to actually fully turn. So this is important because I need to explain this during Drake Lake intermediate version. Once again, this is in conjunction with GHILLIEGUIDE's B-tapping video. I'm just giving a quick synopsis. So now we're actually going to start. So once again, watch GHILLIEGUIDE's B-tapping video and that intro. Okay, so when you start right underneath the A on the start. So when you start, right now I'm simulating with no power first, because I want to give a slow rundown and trying to go as slow as possible to go section by section. So you're trying to aspire to be an intermediate player. This is how you do Drake Lake Expert Championship. So you start right underneath the A. Same rule applies as before for beginner version. Hold down A. Right, start tapping the B button, or like the Bob button. And do it again. Start tapping. And when you reach here, turn right. And then do another hard left. And it's okay to be a little bit wide as an intermediate player. Because, like I said, the main thing you don't want to do is crash. Because if you press the go button and start B-tapping, make that turn. Now it's kind of hard to simulate going slower, so I'm going to show you what it looks like in full speed. Try to hit as much max power as you have. To the left, not B-tapping, and take another left. That's how you do that turn at an intermediate level, at a faster level. Let's do it again. Okay, B-tapping. I stop B-tapping before turning. This entire sequence right there, I don't B-tap. So I'm just going to do it again, just to show you. B-tapping, not B-tapping, making the same turn as a beginner. Okay, that's how you do the first turn at an intermediate level. So now let me set up the next section. Okay, so at intermediate level, you do not want to be going to the left. The left is actually not as fast as going to the right. Because the left, it actually takes longer to reach that yellow buoy you see flashing than it is to go to the right. The right is actually a lot faster. turn back around. It's like drifting me off a little bit to a place I don't want to be. So now this is the next section. So at intermediate level, you're holding down the gas button. This is just a slowed down version, section by section, so I can show you. So in intermediate version still, you don't need to worry about the middle gap of water. I'll do that in the expert version. And there might even be a super expert version if I ask, I'll ask MDK if he wants to do a tutorial video of Drake Lake. He already did one, but I don't know if he has one breaking down every section. Like I said, this intermediate is for those who are speedrunning and those who are also just trying to generally get better at the game. MDK is a top runner in this game, and he's a speedrunner, so all these tutorials are for speedrunners only. So I don't know how much it would help if I put that in the playlist, but I will anyway, because more info is always better than no info. So at intermediate level, I don't mind if you go through the weeds and then just hold the gas button and make this turn. Try and make it a bit tighter than you did before. Whereas before, at the beginner level, I said you can go wide and it'll be fine. As an intermediate player, if you're looking to level up your skills, you want to be making tighter turns. Because in this game, the best way to save time is by turns and by general speed. So in turns, I'm not B-tapping. And then try and be as close to that edge as you possibly can. I'm going to show you the edge again. I think I raced by it. So, let me go over this time. So the edge I'm talking about is right here to the left of me. There's the edge. That's very dangerous. This edge right here kill a lot of runs. This edge right here. That little peak right there. That little peak right there, that can kill a lot of runs. So as an intermediate player, this is how you'd want to set up that turn. So you already went by the first turn section, how to do that. So you want to, doesn't mind if you go slower, you just want to try and be a little bit tighter. So let me show you what it looks like in full speed of an intermediate player. So you start B-tapping, go hard right, even if you go wide, hard left. And then don't worry about the middle gap, you can go through this. Try and run a little bit tighter, and that's how you do that section. So now we're going to move over to the slalom section at intermediate level, so I'm just going to turn around. Okay, so if we're doing this section at intermediate level, once again the setup is the same as the beginner guide. You want to be close to the middle of the course as possible. An expert championship Drake Lake, again, there's no waves to help you move left or right, because if you're too far to the left, you're going to have to make it past that second right buoy right in front of me. You're going to have to make too tight of a turn. And if you're too far right, well then you can't make this left buoy. So once again, you want to be close to the middle as possible. And in the intermediate section, you'd want to do this a little bit faster than the beginner section. So in the beginner guide, I said you can tap A and use the brake button to help you, because going slower is better than going faster and crashing. But in the intermediate guide for this, I'm going to tell you that instead of tapping A, we're going to hold A this time. So we're going to stop tapping A, and we're going to hold A and make it through the slalom. That doesn't mean you have to go fast, it just means that we're going to stop tapping A, which actually is slower than just holding down the button. So for an intermediate person who are aspiring intermediate player, this is how you're going to be going through Drake Lake on expert championship at an intermediate level. So once again, I line myself up straight, So I'm gonna hold A, left, right, left. So let's go back and do it again. Because just showing it once doesn't help. I'm gonna show it a few times. And I'm just gonna go further and up back. Once again, you line yourself up in the middle after doing that turn. Hold A. Even if you stop for a second, hold A, and there you go. I'm just even going to do it again, just to show it again. So in this section, you can definitely tap B, but I'll reserve that for the expert guide. Just tapping B in that section restricts movement. Like I said, if you tap B on turns, it restricts your movement. So I'll leave tapping B in this section to the expert guide. So for the intermediate guide for Drake Lake Expert, we're just going to be switching from tapping A to holding down A. So once again, you're lined up in the middle, and you're still racing, but this is just section by section, so you hold A. Even if you stop for a second to make your turn, right, even if you hit the buoy top and you go slow, you won't fall down. So that's how you do that section, the intermediate level. So I'm actually going to restart and show you in full speed what we have so far. So once again, make a left adjustment, hold an A, right, hold an A, left, hold an A. Even if you let go of the gas button and don't crash, you're fine. So go slower, hold A, make your turn. Now I'm holding A. That's where we're at right now. I'll even show you again, just to show you again.
3, 2, 1.
So if you hit max power, once again you hold an A or the button you use for gas, right? Even if you go wide, all the way left. Even if you slow down, stay to the right of the island, slow down. Even if you somewhat flip this and you go slow, you don't actually crash, because if you go faster through that section and hit that flip, you crash. So hold an A. Right, left, facing out, up, back around. Now I'm going to teach you the pull section at the intermediate level. So in the beginner section, I told you to watch and aim for the gates. I highly recommend to watch the beginner guide, because I need you to master going through the pulls and imagine them as gates before you reach the intermediate section. I explained the pull section in the beginning, in the beginner guide, so this will just expand upon that terminology. So okay, so you're on lap 1, you're on Drake Lake Expert Championship, want to level up your skills, and you want to tell the pole section of Drake Lake to screw itself, and that you're better than the pole section. You do not want to crash. You want to show that you're superior to the waves. The wave gods and the wave race gods want you to crash at the pole section, and the developers are laughing at you because they created a section that is actually pretty difficult, and they want you to crash, but you shall not crash today because you are amazing. Okay, so to do the pole section at intermediate level, you go by that first left buoy. Intermediate level, you can still go wide. And this is the first gate, like I said before, you want to go through. There's 2 sets of poles. And then this is the second gate right here. So the right buoy is right to the left of the second gate. And then you just go straight. But this time, at intermediate level, instead of tapping A, we're gonna be holding A instead. And in this little section where you go straight, you can tap B. Slow down. Hold A. That's how you do that section. I'm going to do it again, just to show you. to go back further enough for I can show you. So we just did that section. So now, right here, you could be tapping B right here. Go wide, let off the gas, make it through the first gate, turn right, even if you hit the pole. That was a little bit unorthodox, so I'm just going to do it again, because normally you wouldn't want to do that. Tapping B, first gate, turn right, second gate, and even if you hit a pole, you're fine. So I'm just going to go to lap 2. So once again, hold straight, not B tapping, right, not B tapping, not B tapping. So even if you go slower, intermediate, right, left. Show it again. Full speed. Holding down A. Right. Trying to turn too early. It's not the expert mode yet. So once again, you stay to the left. Alright. Left. Stay to the right of this and hit this. Let out the gas if you want to, just to be safe. Try and make a tighter turn. Now I'm holding A. Right. Left. Right. Left. Going wide. So it's going to do it again. Even going wide, I can let off the gas. Even if you hit that, fine. Once again, right, left, right, left. Even if you have to slow down, hit the first gate, hit the second gate, and then straighten yourself out. Even if you bobble like that, you're fine. Hold down A. Right. Left. Go through this section. Still holding A. And slow down for this section if you really need to. Hit the first gate. Hit the second gate. Okay, so now I'm going to simulate what it looks like if you're holding down the gas button and doing every section. As explained, this is going to be a simulated time of life. Slow down for this section. Hold an A. Even if you have to slow down a little bit to set up the gates. Slow down to make this turn. Make sure you're in the middle. First gate, second gate. Right, left. Still holding A. Even if I go all the way wide and I cut across and go slow. Right, left, right, left. First gate. See, if you go too fast and you hit a pole, you actually crash. So even with a crash, I hit a 130. Even with a crash, I hit a 130.
3, 2,
Do it again. So do the section, tapping B. Turns. Don't tap me. Turn it wide. Even if you go all the way to the right, slow down. Right. Left. Right. Left. Even if you go wide, you can let off the gas. Go through the first gate, second gate's right there.
Not that far.
Even if you go all the way wide, let off the gas if you want. Right. Left. Right. Left. Get it through the first gate. Get it through the second gate. Right. Even if you want to go all the way to the right, make this turn easy. Right. First gate, second gate. Yeah, I'll get you at 124.
3, 2, 1.
So the advantage of using the overhead camera, like I said, is that you can see the front. I'm pulling back, you can see the front. So where that goes is where the jet ski goes. So I can see that I'm past it because the front of the jet ski is I'm only looking where the front of the jet ski goes. As you can see, I can see the front right here. As you're making your turns, I can see exactly where I'm headed to. That's how I know I can make it through the gates. Through the first gate already, as you can see, all I had to do is press the gas. And when I make my turn, I can see that this red buoy, very important stuff. This red buoy is the marker for the second gate. As you can see, it's just in front of like the second gate right here. So if I can align myself with the red buoy like I am right here, all you have to do is hold straight and you're through. And so again, I realize I'm past, right, left. Even if you have to go all the way to the right to make sure you don't roll over the island and you slow down, holding down A. Even if I slow down all the way down to like the 60s to make the gates, yeah, rubbed up against it, that's fine. Even if I slow all the way down and don't crash, taking that section slower is better. Right, left. Even if I go all the way right again, I've shown many times. Hold an A. Even if I slow down and make a turn and then tap A, even if you want to tap A at immediate level, and even if you do that in the Shabu, you can still gain up your power. Because losing power is as much as the time loss as crashing. I'm going to keep that in mind. Again. Right.
Maximum power.
Holding down A. So right, turn left, turn right, turn left. Even if you go all the way wide and set up the gates. Gonna do it again. Again. So if you decide not to tap A, this is what it'll look like. If you don't want to slow down at intermediate level, I consider this high intermediate level. You want to turn left, make it through the first gate. You see the second gate right there. So this will be the overhead camera view intermediate level. Next I will make, actually no, I'll just add the basic cam intermediate level. So let me just finish out these 9 laps. This is me simulating what it looks like. Even if you have to go really wide to make that. Even if you want to go wide and slow down, then make these turns. It's okay. I was trying to simulate going wide though. So look. Setting up wide, hitting the gates. Even if you want to go really, really wide, like I'm right here, still okay. You're going really wide. Even if you want to take wide turns. It's okay. You want to reach here if you feel uncomfortable. Slow down and use the beginner version for this section.
You almost had it.
Okay, so that was the overhead camera view intermediate. Now I'm going to show the variant for those who want to play intermediate level in the base cam, because there are definitely people who want to play base cam mode. So most everything still applies, except that you're just in a camera that you don't see the overhead of like the jet ski, but you can take wider turns and you don't lose that much time. So once again, start off, go straight. Already went over everything. You can actually see the buoys at a lower level, which can be helpful. Take a wide, take a left. You pass this buoy already, take a right. Slow down. If you really want to, you can slow down. Try and make your turn tighter. Right here. Left. Right. Left. Right. Go wide. Make your turns. Trying to get to the skate right here. Turn right. But once again, at the intermediate level, I'm trying to get you to hold down the gas button and not do this movement right here. It's called double gassing. Like that. You go up a little bit, then you go down. It's called, I call it double gassing. You want to get out of that. Okay. Once again, right, left, right, left, straight, go through the gate. Hold down the gas button. Again. Slow down. Make the turn. And if you have to make wide turns, fine. Reach this first gate right here. Turn slight right, make the second gate. And always practice the different sections. Put it on 9 laps, and you can go to a section practice over and over again. Right, left. You have to go really, really wide to set up this gate. tap in this section, and during turns, don't. You're good.
Okay. Maximum power.
Like I said, crashing hurts you most.
Not that far. Okay. Nice. Maximum power. You almost had it.
Alright, I'm now going to simulate what you can expect in the base normal mode for a time.
3, 2, 1.
Okay, so you're holding down the gas button for the intermediate level of time on the gas as much as possible. Right. Head off the gas if you want. Left, right. Holding it down.
Not that far. No problem. That was easy. Okay. Good. Maximum power.
I should do 125. Now, if you don't want to slow down in turns, this is what it look like. Even if you go through that.
Not that far. Not that far.
Okay, I'll get you to a 121 or 120. Okay, hopefully I made it through an intermediate video. Like I said, it's my first time actually trying to make a tutorial series for something I'm good at. Hopefully it's good. I mean, I don't know. I'll just see the feedback from the video and see if people would actually watch it. And trying my best to come up with what I believe is intermediate level. Trying not to add too many difficult things on top for each new level. I'm trying to not add too much information. I want everything to be processable. So I'll just restart and we'll kind of go over the overview of intermediate level. what we learned this episode. So intermediate level, what we learned, holding down the A button, making turns, keeping the mindset that going slower is still better than crashing. Don't be afraid to slow down during turns, because crashing hurts you ultimately most of all. We learned the basics of beat tapping and when to do it. You beat tapping during straightaways, so like this initial straight you come across, you should be beat tapping. So this initial straight, you should be beat tapping. Don't beat tapping turns, because it's like the only place you could be beat tapping. Like the only place you can do it. And make your turns. Don't be afraid to lose time. So that don't be afraid to lose time doing the right things. Just crashing hurts you. Caught gravity and slow reception, intermediate level. Don't be afraid to go wide and set yourself up this time. So this time, try and do it in one swift motion, holding down A in the whole section. Try and get through the gates. Even if you go really wide, I'm going as wide as I can on the course. Simulating going really wide. You can still hit a 30 lap time going really wide. So holding down the A button is indeed faster than tapping A and keep continually pressing the stop button. So in this intermediate level, you're limiting the use of the brake button, so you can use the gas button more frequently so it's go faster. And that's learned about the overhead view on this course. What you should be doing in the overhead view. Again, don't be afraid to go slower. And remember, wherever he turns isn't where the jet ski's going. Not necessarily. You want to be looking at the front of the jet ski. Made it to the first gate. Slight right. And you're through. So hopefully it's something that we can up pretty well. Like I said, move to more particular ways. And the next video will be the expert version of this. We're going to be talking about beat tapping more depth. Fooling around and talking too much. I'll be teaching you how to get like the speed runner lap times. And when we should be tapping D and more in-depth knowledge. But once again, I highly recommend watch video guides for looks good in the settings and game knowledge. I'll link all those videos down below. Also recommend watching beginner guide for expert championship. I was kind of riding blind there for a second. I was looking up at my ceiling, but yeah, all the videos that you need to watch that are relevant will be down in the description. And hopefully you can watch these games for expert championship. Hopefully these types of videos help you as a break like if you're making one for port leadership tunnels, also for some other sections.
Don't miss any more. One chance left. Okay.
Also doing the report to style and some other sections. It retired me, whatever. It's the end of the video. I was actually trying to do a handstand at the end there, but didn't input, so.
Wave breaks.
One good mention I would do before I actually end off this is that for those aspiring to actually be better at the game, this is just a cold hard truth. to get better at the game, you have to practice and make sure you use this material well, because you need to study the course. You need to actually put the practice in. Practicing 1 to 2 times is not going to get you better. If you plan on getting better at the game, you need to practice maybe twice a week. You know, put in some effort and like see some dividends. Like practicing once a month or like once every couple months using these techniques. I mean, you might get better eventually, but you need to have some time in the game, maybe like twice a week, to like see some improvements happen. Maybe doing a session of like an hour, maybe an hour or 2, or like even half an hour on the course, you definitely see some improvement. So the best way to improve is to actually go to the options menu. There's all these different settings you can see here. You actually turn down the Elgato a little bit. Yeah, so what you can actually do is go to change conditions. You want to go to change conditions right here, and you want to go to whatever mode you're on. So this affects all the courses in that mode. So obviously if you hit default, it'll change your settings to like default, like when you just boot up the game. But what you want to do if you're practicing Expert Championship, you want the wave condition to be on default. Number of misses, keep that the same, and keep number of laps at 9. See if you can get through for your very first attempt. Just completing the course. That's like the first step, just completing the course without retiring. See if you can do 9 laps without retiring. That's the first step. The next step is to do each session faster and faster. Now, if you get to a point where you feel satisfied and you feel like, hey, I'm pretty good at doing this, you can lower the number of misses down so that there's less room for error for you. And by practicing 9 laps with 1 number of miss, if you get to this level, you can pretty much expect what to expect. Because on Drake Lake for Expert, there's no waves. It's all technical skill. So my job is to try to get you to feel confident enough to do wave conditions default and do 9 laps with no error. But as a beginner, this is where I'd want you to get to. I mean, intermediate players, sorry, but like if you're like beginning, learning how to like actually better at the game, a beginner and using like the wave conditions, I would put the number of misses, keep it the same, and see if you can do 9 laps. And if you feel uncomfortable with 9 laps, try starting out with 4 laps. If you feel comfortable with 4 laps, go up to 5 laps. Once you feel comfortable with 5, go up to 6. The best way to improve in this game is to make conditions harder for yourself, so that when you do good, if you get really consistent running 9 laps with the same amount of misses, then that means that when you actually have to do it in a real run, you only have to do 3 laps. You already know how to do 9, you can do 3. And if you feel like you missed a few buoys every once in a while, and let me change it back to the false. If you feel yourself missing a lot of buoys and you wanted it better and tighter in your line selection, you can change the number of misses so that there's less error. And if you're able to consistently do 9 laps with 1 buoy miss available, then when it actually comes time to do a run, you only have to do 3 laps, and the number you have to miss increases to 5. So once again, the best way to get better is to go into change conditions. Go to whatever mode you're at, and to set it back to the false, and to practice basically. Now if you feel like the actual, like, let's say Expert's too difficult by itself at the actual course and you want to learn it, there's actually a calm condition, but most don't use it because if you're trying to learn Esper Championship or any other championship, for that matter, default is like the most one that most people use, but you can actually change to calm. But records will never be saved, and if you try submitting a calm speed run to a leaderboard, it will be denied because everything's using default. You don't want to, if you're using calm or wild during the speed run, it'll be denied. So just keep that in mind. This is for practice only. But calm makes it so that there's no waves, or like there's no waves. Like the waves would be very calm, and wild means it's wild, very wild. I'll actually give you a sneak peek right now, just to leave off with one little treat, even though this kind of ending's getting kind of long, but I just want to leave off with a treat. I'm going to section this video off anyways. So, just for your viewing pleasure, I'm going to be going Drake Lake Esper, and it's going to be on wild conditions. This is what wild looks like. And I'm going to actually try this time at full mode. Let's see how we do. Oh, flip that edge. Wild is really wild, eh? Yeah, these waves are kind of crazy. And have the added pressure of doing it in front of the audience too. Oh. Okay, maybe I should have made a red adjustment right there, but as you can see, I'm not actively practicing wild mode, especially not in Drake Lake when Esper Championship and normal championship take up a lot of my time, but well, my very first attempt doing wild on this course, so okay, that would look like probably about a 130 if I didn't crash. Okay, so that was the intermediate course, and I'm actually going to end stream right now because I'm going to do the expert one a different time because I want to take more in-depth time to do that. And that'll end up being like probably a good hour. So I'm going to do that a different time. So thank you guys for watching. It's been Chameleon. If you like this video, subscribe. And what I'm doing, and where's the and button? Okay, I'm just gonna update the title. Okay, so this is Chameleon to sign off. Peace.